So Google was nice enough to send me out the Pixel 6 Pro. So I've had this phone for 2.5, 3 weeks now. Had Google Fi on it that whole time. No longer have Google Fi on it because I'm not using it. I'm done with the review process with it. I'm going to talk about why I didn't leave service on it and why I'm not going to be using it as my daily driver. I went into that slightly in an earlier video when I was looking at some cases and stuff, but let's talk about that in this video. I'm just going to give you my thoughts on it. We're not going to get into specs. I'll leave some links for some spec videos and articles down below so you guys can check those out for yourself. This is going to be my experience with the Pixel 6 Pro for about 3 weeks. Let's jump right into it. So the one thing that I'll talk about first is everybody knows Pixel phones, we're talking cameras. Those are the things that everybody looks for with the Pixel phone. You're getting vanilla Android and you're getting a great camera experience. Now the one spec that I'll talk about this year is that they bumped up the camera megapixel count to 50. Now they're still only using 12, it's some kind of processing or whatever. Okay, that's cool. It works really, really well. It works really, really good. I'll have some samples up here. I took this to Niagara Falls like the day after I got it. I was up in Canada for a work project. I did some comparing shots between the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the Pixel 6 Pro. So I'll have some of that stuff in throughout the video. You'll see some of those mixed in, but really it works really, really well. One thing that I will say about the camera is the video footage is much better. That was always a weak side when it came to Pixels. They never shot video very well. Front-facing camera, using the mics too, but you know, Niagara Falls, so I don't know how much you're really gonna hear. Nope. I think they're better this time. I still don't think with video anybody can touch the iPhone. I took a video with that at Cedar Point with the kids and I was following them doing like this little obstacle course and didn't realize till I looked at it back that it looked like I had a gimbal. The Pixel 6 Pro is very good stabilization. It's just the iPhone's on another level still. I think the Pixel's not very far behind, but I would say it's a little behind the iPhone when it comes to video. But back to stills, it's very good. There's a few things that I'm gonna nitpick. It takes great pictures most of the time. I've had a couple that just missed, that just did not do well. I'm hoping for like a software update to where that gets a little bit better. In case you didn't know, Google made their own chips this time around. Again, I'll leave links for all that stuff down below. For the average person, they're not thinking about all that stuff, so I didn't really try to dive deep into that. I'm just giving you my use case. I did put it up against the iPhone when it came to night vision, the night shot, night sight, and I don't know if it's just my unit or something going on, but the night sight on this was horrendous. I mean, not even usable. So I don't know what's going on with that, if I just did not have a good situation, but I used the iPhone and that in the same situations and it was just bad. Even the Z Fold 3 had a better night vision than the Pixel, which should be not the case. So I think maybe just something's up with mine. Maybe I need an update. I've checked all the updates. Everything was good. There's nothing that I needed to do, but that is what it was. So in the camera, you have your wide angle, which is 0.7. It's just not quite wide enough. I believe the iPhone is 0.5, but if I want a wide angle, I want something really wide, like give me almost fisheye. And then if you want to use software to straighten things up, Google, you should be able to do that. Give me a little bit wider. I don't find myself using the wide angle very much, just because it is not wide enough to where I'm like, oh, that's really, you know, like that cool, dope wide angle shot. It's just not here with this. Then you have your standard 1x, you have a 2x zoom, and then when you get to the little periscope, you have a 4x, which is good, but again, it's only 4x. And then you can go all the way up to 20x, which it gets really soft and probably not very usable. I put some samples on Instagram when I was at Niagara Falls for that, and it was not fantastic. You again have portrait. They have some new features this year that in the camera phone app. You have action pan, which I'll just read you their thing here. Focuses on a moving subject and adds creative blur to the background. Hold your camera still and follow the subject. So what you're doing, like say you're at a, I don't know, 5K or maybe even a car race or a car going down the road, you're gonna take your camera and you're gonna follow that car or that person and just keep them in focus in the camera, and then it's gonna add a blur around them so you can see the motion of them moving. There's also a long exposure, which I did, and I posted on Twitter. Somebody's like, oh, you should have did a long exposure at Niagara Falls, and then I did the long exposure, which, you know, both action pan and long exposure still say beta, so there's that. But it's gonna give you that, you're gonna take a picture, you're gonna hold it, and then you can use it without a tripod, and it'll give you that blur. Like if it's water, it'll give you the motion blur of the water, or if it's say a car driving by, you'll get like the light streak if it's at night, that kind of stuff. So very cool. I tried doing some stuff with that with the iPhone when I was at Cedar Point a little while back with Sawyer, and they have like where you can go, once you take the picture, if it's a live photo, you can swipe up and do like a long exposure. It never looked right. It was very, very bad. Of course, you got night sight, you have your video, which you have slow motion, your normal, your time lapse, and then you also have the standards. You have panorama, photosphere, and then Google Lenses baked in as well. Now what you also have this year is Magic Erase Tool, where it doesn't have to be a picture that you take on the Pixel 6. Like I've went back into some pictures in my Google Photos, and actually I'll show you some samples here where you can select, it'll automatically select, or you can just draw a circle around. It does a lot better if it's a subject that's sort of on its own, not in like a busy area. Like if you got like a crowd of people and you're trying to take out one person, it's gonna be very difficult. But if you like take a picture of somebody and there happen to be somebody walking in the background, or there's like a sign there that you're like, that sort of looks out of place, then you can just sort of get that out of there, and it works amazingly good with the right situation. The camera experience is good. Like I said, I think you're getting, in my experience with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, I would say 99.9% of the pictures I get on there are bangers. They hit, they're exactly what I'm looking for. The tone is right, the composition always is on par, focus is always good. Like, composition is my thing, but you know what I mean? Like everything looks how in my head I wanted the shot to look. With this phone, I'd say it's more like a 90%. Like which is good, but that 10%, if it's something that you're not gonna be able to be like, oh, hold on, let me get another pic, you've lost it. So that 10% and 9%, that could hurt. So I'm hoping, like I said, with software updates, that gets changed. All right, so two things I'm not a huge fan of on this compared to older Pixel devices. They have an under the screen fingerprint scanner this year, which just uses light. Let me see if I can get this. It uses like a light underneath that shines up on your finger, determines if it's your fingerprint, and then goes. It's not very fast, really not very fast at all when you get used to some other things. Like the Z Fold 3 has a fingerprint scanner on the power button, works really fast. iPhone Face ID is faster. iPhone Touch ID on older phones was way faster. So I appreciate them trying to put it under the screen, and that's great, but I think they should have left it on the back. I think that was sort of like very Google in my mind, very Pixel, is to have it on the back. It's always one of those things where you're pulling it out of your pocket, you put your finger on it, by the time you get it, it's there. This one, you're looking to make sure you get it in the right spot. You got to be on that circle. and it's just not very fast. I mean, it's just not. The other thing that I'm not a big fan of is the waterfall screen. The Pixel 6 does not have that. It has the squared off edges. I think that's where we're at. I don't really blame them for this. Like, it's not something like, oh, I'd never buy the phone because it has that. Palm recognition, or you know, the touches from the side is good. It's not an issue. My friend Danny Winget just posted on Instagram that he dropped this just a little bit with the case on it and the whole screen shattered. So he thinks it's because of this like waterfall edge or the rounded edge of the screen. I don't disagree with that, because even with a case, unless you got a different case, this is Google's case, you're still exposed out there, right? Like, you're good with laying down because you have here and here, but these edges, if you were to hit something on the edge, that's it. I think you're done. That being said, those two hardware things, Android 12 is awesome. It's smooth, it's fast. I like you can change your wallpaper to get everything, all the built-in apps. That's something they don't really talk about. They're like, oh, it changes all your apps to where everything matches, so you're beautiful, like it's all customized. Not really, because when you get into regular applications, you have TikTok and Instagram are still the same old ones. I don't know why they can't go in and just make every application, like make them all the same. Like, I love the way this home screen looks with everything matches the wallpaper. And as soon as you change the wallpaper, do the home screen lock screen, do this lava one, boom. Everything right away changed. Just subtle changes, matches the sky now, the little widget, the widget for the clock changed, everything. So I love that. But then again, you flip back over, we still have Instagram and TikTok completely different. That's why I don't have them on the homepage, because I want this all to be clean and uniformed, and it's just not there yet. So I'm hoping that again is another update to where they can just, you know, you can get icon packs and change everything all across Android. So I don't know why Google doesn't have the power to just say, okay, anything on your home screens, boom, it changes. In the app drawer, everything can still be the same. That's great. But on my screen, I want everything that color. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. Again, like most manufacturers, it doesn't come with a charging brick. I didn't do any unboxing on that. There's a bunch of unboxing, so if you want to check that out, just look around. You get USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable and a USB Type-A to USB Type-C adapter. That's what you get. That's it. And a SIM eject tool. So big shout out for that. But I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. The screen on this is beautiful. I love using it. I put the screen quality, I did like a muted. I can't remember what so you have adaptive, natural, and then boosted. Boosted's going to give you that Samsung look. So I have it on adaptive. It is, you know what it is. This has 120 hertz refresh rate. That is something that I notice. The Pixel 6 itself has a 90, so that's even going to be faster than your iPhone 13. But I have an iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is my work phone. That's 128 adaptive display. I don't know, what do they call it? Or whatever. It's adaptive, so if nothing's moving, it'll be 10. Saves on battery. This one has the adaptive as well. So this one, it's called smooth display. So this one, unlike Apple that can go down to 10, this one goes from 60 up to 120 hertz. So I have that on. What I wanted to talk about and why I'm not using it as a daily driver, and why I mentioned before that I had Google Fi on it for 3 weeks while I was using it and got rid of it, is because it's not going to be my daily driver. The reason I got the Fi on it is because I wanted to check out the 5G, which, where I was and where I am isn't that big of a deal. I personally have not seen a 5G bump when it comes to versus 4G, like on my iPhones that I've had for a couple years. Like, I just don't see the 5G thing yet. So that's not a big deal to me, but I wanted to give it a fair shot and have a SIM card in it to give you guys my full impressions. Like I mentioned before, the reason I'm not doing it as my daily driver is because I think it was 3 or 4 days before this, I picked up the Galaxy Z Fold 3. And that phone has changed my perception on phones and tablets forever. I use that phone. That's my daily driver personal phone. My iPhone is my work phone. That one, I've tried to not use my iPad Pro as much. Now, obviously, the form factor is something huge, but it's the size of an iPad mini, which I was thinking about switching to an iPad mini now that it has the Apple Pencil 2.0 to use, to get away from my large 12.9 iPad Pro, because I have a 13-inch MacBook Pro. So I feel like I have that space, 13-inch, taken care of. I wanted something smaller. The Fold 3 gives me both of those things. It gives me a phone. I can use it in a candy bar style. It's a little slim for my fingers. Typing on it's a little rough, but if you can get used to swipe typing, which I'm getting back to used to, it's fine. And then I open it up and I have essentially a tablet for media consumption, or if I want to run a couple, doing emails and something side by side, just productivity, another level. So that's why for an Android phone, I'm not going to go with the Pixel 6 Pro. I think a lot of people will pick the Pixel 6 Pro over the Fold 3. Obviously, price. This runs $900. Start out, and the 6 is $599. So that's, $600, $900 versus what's the Fold 3, $1,800 or something insane. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But let's recap. I think the hardware on this is fantastic. Like I said, there's two shortcomings in my mind. That's the under-screen fingerprint scanner, the fold over, roll over screen. I just want to square it off now. It's just sort of where we're at. The cameras are really good. I like the design of the camera visor, as people have been calling it. I think that's a cool look. I think overall the phone is a really cool look, although the Pro, everything is super glossy. Again, I think we're past that, so I wish this was all matte. I think the 6 is matte, but this is all gloss. I'm not a fan of this. You put on their frosted case, I guess you're getting matte, but I'm to the point now where I like sometimes going without a case, and this one, there's so many fingerprints, I would never do it. With this rollover edge, it's going to be difficult to find a screen protector for it, so that's another thing you have to keep in mind. But for media consumption and stuff, the speakers on this, the stereo speakers are really good as well. I mean, it's a really good phone. It's just, it came a little too late for me. If I would have got this probably a couple weeks before, I probably wouldn't even have thought about getting the Z Fold. I would have just kept this as my daily driver. Personally, I'm glad I got the Z Fold. I think it's a game changer. The technology, foldable screens, it's sick. But the Pixel 6 and the 6 Pro is out there. I think it's a fantastic option. Android, in my opinion, if you're not going to look for a foldable or something crazy off the wall, this is the phone you want. You want pure Android. You want Google updating you. Boom, boom, boom. The Fold, God only knows. I have it on Verizon. Who knows when I'm actually going to get Android 12. There's betas out there, but you have to have it unlocked, because God knows Verizon's going to throw 5 gigs of bloatware on it before I'm actually going to see it. So this, when there's an update for Android, you're going to get it the day Google says it's coming, it's available. Boom, you have it. So that's a big thing. Security updates on this is going for years and years, so you're good there. Like I said, just not for me, but it's a great option, especially the 6. You're talking $600. That's an amazing option for what you're getting. That's going to be it. If you guys enjoyed the video, you can hit the thumbs up. I'll leave links for the Pixel and the Fold and this case and some other things down below. Like I said, some other videos that go into more on the specs and some different things, and some other ones that I really like, some reviews. That's just my opinion on it. Google was nice enough to send us out, so keep that in mind. Team Pixel, they gave this to me. No expectations of video or posts or anything, so thank you, Google, for keeping me in mind when you guys are sending stuff out. And I think that's going to be it. Next year, we talk about the Pixel 7. There's been rumors that it's going to fold. That could change the whole game. So this time next year, Google sends me out their foldable phone. This may be a whole different conversation, so stay tuned for that. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.